Live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across the country. Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight, majority in Parliament mounts stiff defense for Appointments Committee in the wake of allegations ministerial nominees are paying bribes for approval, insisting such actions must be unnecessary given their overwhelming majority to approve all nominees.
NDC is in power. We have 184 members. We can approve anybody. So no nominee needs to give anybody any money, because as a party, you will be whipped in line.
Plus, the man at the center of the controversy, Barker-Vormawor, apologizes over his claims of bribery, as he says he was taken out of context.
Mr. Chair, I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee. For those reasons, I apologize.
Client having apologized is hereby discharged.
Also coming up tonight, hundreds of parents storm WAEC over withheld results of the awards, demanding the immediate release of the results, withheld nearly a month after WAEC results were released.
It's not easy. You know, they might smile about it, but they are not really happy.
According to some of the children, they intimidated them to write the reports.
We'll hear from students frustrated by the prolonged delay in releasing their results.
Definitely, they should release our results for us. That is all what we need, because maths is not like any other subject that you, expect a lot of answers. 1 + 1 is 2, so definitely you can't expect someone to get right 3.
Also tonight, government terminates Walugu Dam contract 5 years after $12 million was paid for no work done.
Almost $12 million dollars was paid, but no work was done. And it's like the contract is in a limbo. What we will do is to terminate that contract immediately.
We have more from the Agric Minister Eric Opoku as he gives 1 month ultimatum to begin disbursement of abandoned tractors and other heavy-duty farm machines procured 8 years ago.
They are exposed to the vagaries of the weather, and the machines are deteriorating. And so we'll sit down and then we'll come out with a policy. Within 1 month, you'll see what we can do with these machines.
And in business,
President John Mahama announces plans by government to adopt innovative measures to finance infrastructure projects in the country.
And in sports, former Ghana international Ibrahim Tanko takes over as head coach of Mediama Sporting Club with a promise to help improve the club's performance and standing in the ongoing Ghana Premier League.
Also coming up tonight, Attorney General drops Supreme Court appeal against Finance Minister Cassiel Atoforsen and businessman Richard Jakba over the ambulance case in which they were accused of causing financial loss to the state. Details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. My name is Kenneth Jesse.
I'm Faustina. Staff, was a good time to stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now we start from Parliament, where the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, says his party, the National Democratic Congress, has an overwhelming majority number of seats in Parliament, such that it will be absurd for any presidential nominee to bribe MPs to approve them.
Well, Faustina, activist and lawyer Barker-Vormawor earlier today apologized to members of Parliament's Appointments Committee over claims he made in a social media post that created the impression the nominees were being asked to pay bribes for approval. However, in response to his summons, Barker-Vormawor says he was taken out of context. A Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, has more.
At no point did I accuse the chair of this committee or members of the NDC for having asked for or to be given money or to submit themselves to oral. It is in fact on record that I've praised the chair of this committee for his leadership of the committee during the ministerial vettings. Mr. Chairman, I categorically disassociate myself from the comments attributed to me and even from subsequent remarks that have been made by others that I was accusing certain members of this committee for corruption. The misinformation, as I said, was appeared on a Facebook post under one NPP Projects Bureau. In fact, there's evidence that 4 days ago when the post appeared, I commented on it as being fake. We're happy to provide the committee with evidence of same.
Are you going to do justification, or you want to render an apology and we close this meeting?
Mr. Chair, I have no intention to lecture the committee. If the committee resolves that the context of the post is irrelevant to the commission, the question here, I'm happy to proceed as the committee has directed. Now,
proceed as the committee has directed.
Mr. Chair, I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee. For those reasons, I apologize.
Well, that was Oliver Barker-Vormawor when he appeared before the Appointments Committee earlier today.
Well, however, speaking on PM Express last night, the majority leader said Barker-Vormawor may have made his comments out of an erroneous impression that the MPs are demanding bribes for approval of nominees.
In this country, all sort of things happen. All sort of things happen. I actually met somebody who operates in a sector, and the person said, "Oh, our minister is our sector minister is being considered this week, so we want to go and help him." And I said, "Has your sector minister asked you to come and help him?" "So no, we just want to come together and help him." I said,
"Real story."
Yeah, real story. I said, "No, none of them has a problem. All of them, so far as we are concerned, if the president has nominated them, unless somebody really has a petition that is against your sector minister nominee, he should be fine." I'm telling you, I told the person, I don't think there's a need for you and people in your sector to go mobilizing money that you are going to help your minister, because we won't even accept it. So that is out there. You get the situation.
Right.
A certain perception that, and so maybe somebody
private sector.
Yeah, somebody spoke and he heard or something. The reason is that what is the motivation? NDC is in power. We have 184 members, and then we have 4 other, independent members. 2 are actually NDC members. The other are not original NDC members, but have agreed to do business with the NDC. We can approve anybody. We can approve anybody. So no nominee needs to give anybody any money, because as a party, you will be whipped in line to vote according to the party's interest.
Let's still stay on this story, because the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs had earlier claimed that the majority side of the House appears weak. Well, the assessment is emanating from the continuous confrontations both at plenary and at the Appointments Committee level, where the first Deputy Speaker and the chair of the committee, Bernard Ahiafo, has come under intense criticism. However, reacting to the concerns, the majority leader says, in spite of an overwhelming majority, the NDC does not intend to crack down on dissent.
Well, he's new to the job, and so I want to say, give people time to build themselves and their competencies in the roles that they find themselves. And so that's how I will evaluate the situation. But then the real thing is that you also don't want to be seen not to be creating space for a detailed evaluation and assessment of the competencies of nominees. You don't want to be seen to be railroading things and to be intolerant of opposition and minority. You don't want to be seen to be intolerant of dissent. We believe that our opponents fell out with Ghanaians because of some of those tendencies. And because of the numbers that we have, it is very tempting and easy to use those numbers and to have things your way, have things expedited. But you could end up also being accused of not really exercising the scrutiny that is expected of a parliament over the executive.
Well, Kenneth, let's stay in Parliament, where the minority is pushing for strong sanctions, including possible fines or imprisonment against the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Victoria MFA Hardcastle. Now, they insist that her description of the minority chief whip, Frank Anodom Silly, is an insult on parliamentary authority. The two were engaged in a heated verbal exchange in Parliament on Tuesday morning at the Appointments Committee sitting. Listen.
Not this silly can come and bully me. You heard the word she used. What called me silly? She called me silly. Are you a silly child? No. We will deal with this matter. You called me silly. I don't have time for this. Did I mention your name? Why are you taking a hat on your head? Did I mention your name? You know you were fighting on TV about this, your seat. You are coming to select your please. Did I mention your name? You cannot call me silly. Did I mention your name? Did I mention your name? You can carry a cross you want to carry.
So that was the confrontation between the two on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Frank Anodompre on Tuesday made a formal complaint before the Speaker of Parliament. He claimed he was insulted and abused by the Petroleum Commission boss and pressed the Speaker to refer her to the Privileges Committee.
So with the greatest of respect, I felt very abused. And there, I felt, how can a man be killed in his own backyard? Even if there should be any crucifixion, the crucifixion should not be done in my own house. So reasonably, I reached out to the chair of the committee and reported same matter. Members who were present, who heard it, who witnessed it, all came to corroborate my story. I think, Speaker, I want to put this on record, that even though she passed by to render a certain lame apology, it is totally unacceptable. Speaker, I am compelled to resort to this approach. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have done it. And when I came in, I saw my colleague, Honorable Governance, who I'm very close to, leader of the House. Forgive me, I didn't tell you about this. I related to him that, have I done something wrong to this lady? Why would I be abused to this extent? Where I haven't said anything. I haven't provoked you in any way. So not to belabor the point, I feel my reputation is lowered by these attacks.
Well, the minority a few hours ago released a statement condemning the actions of the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission. My colleague Michael Ashali joins me in the studio with details of that statement. Now, Michael, they're pushing for some sanctions against the subject. Tell me more.
Well, in a two-page statement from the minority side, it reads that her behavior on Tuesday represents one of the most flagrant attacks on parliamentary dignity in recent memory and demands an appropriately stern response from the House. Now, it continues, says that such conduct strikes at the very foundation of our democracy and must be met with the full force of parliamentary sanctions. The minority say they expect that the appropriate sanctions under the standing orders, including fines, imprisonment, restriction from parliamentary presence, and mandatory public apology will be applied with appropriate severity to reflect the gravity of this offense. So this is a portion of the statement from the minority.
Thank you, Michael Ashali. It's a good time to go to Parliament now.
Indeed. Let's bring in our resident correspondent from Parliament, Kweku Asante, who's joining us via the telephone lines. Kweku, the regular procedure will be to refer this to the Privileges Committee, which Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo raised today, but that hasn't been constituted. How is Parliament handling this?
Well, ordinarily, if Parliament were minded, they could refer the matter to the Privileges Committee, and then when it is formed, it will take it up. But obviously, some persons will think that may delay proceedings. So Badman, the Speaker of Parliament, has promised to look into this matter. He has said he will invite Emir Fahad Castle and then another press. He will speak to both of them and report to Parliament on Friday. Listen to him.
All right, Kweku, we'll play that sound later, but I want to find out from you. So what happens then after the Speaker's ruling?
Well, the Speaker now says he's going to probe the matter. It is after the probe, and if the Speaker is so minded, he will refer the matter to the Privileges Committee or another committee for that matter to do this work. And so we will wait for the Speaker on Friday when he does come with his report and explains what exactly he has found. And then a decision will be taken as to what exactly should happen going forward.
Okay, so that means Friday is the big day. Today there was no vetting that happened. Are we expecting another vetting to take place tomorrow, probably?
Well, yes, second round of vetting for this week will continue tomorrow. We expect that the Communication Minister designate Sam George will come before the committee. The Minister designate for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, will also come as well as some regional ministerial designates. And so that will happen tomorrow because of the matters having to do with Oliver Barker-Vormawor, which were discussed to be at the appointment committee.
Does that mean that the people who were supposed to be vetted today and tomorrow will all be vetted together tomorrow?
We do not have confirmation of that. Yesterday, the chairman announced that because of the hearing relating to Oliver Barker-Vormawor, they have postponed all vetting scheduled for today. And so they will reschedule them. And we expect that by close of, I think by 8 or 9 p.m., the
Okay, Kweku Asante reports for us from Parliament. Thank you.
Well, Ken, we have to stay in Parliament because a lot of things has been happening today. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister designate Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa has been approved by Parliament after the NPP minority withdrew its opposition. The NPP had opposed his approval, citing his scathing criticism of the former President Akufo-Addo when he delivered his last State of the Nation address.
Chairman, have enormous respect for President Akufo-Addo, any president that will occupy this highest seat of our land, because the decisions that they are confronted are enormous and grave. And so I don't think we take that lightly at all. As deputy majority leader, I had a duty that day, and I believed, and that's what I thought. I believe those were words that resonated with the people of Ghana. Now, if there are words that came out that sounded in any way disrespectful, I regret it, because the intention was never to disrespect the president at all. It was simply to talk about the government of the day. And yes, obviously there were very good things, some things that were done that obviously we can talk about that were right, obviously. But I was reflecting the views of the people of Ghana who felt that they have gone through so much hardships, and that's why the reference was to his government and not to his person. Thank you.
Well, at his vetting, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa refused to walk back on these comments. Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin insisted that the approval of his nomination be put on hold until some matters are ironed out.
There are certain matters to be ironed out to ensure some tidiness in respect of my respected colleague who was formerly in leadership, Honorable Amakofi-Boa. There was a certain understanding of between myself and the chair. I was supposed to see the final report. I wouldn't want to stall the process, but I would plead with you that whilst we make the contributions, we get into, I would engage him to be sure that what we did is what exactly we have here, because there was, under normal circumstances, upon completion of that exercise, I was supposed to at least see, Mr. Speaker, I hold the torch for my caucus, and all of us here know that beyond this chamber, we have the party that takes decisions. I do not want to be seen as having disobeyed party orders.
Kweku is still with us. Kweku, briefly, just tell me exactly why the minority leader withdrew his objection.
Truly,
according to them, that Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa is willing and ready to retract and apologize. Whilst Afenyo-Markin has said this, he did go to the chairman. Whilst on the floor, they spoke. Mahama Yarega also went there. They spoke, showed them something on the phone. It is not clear exactly at what forum Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa has agreed to retract and apologize on. But that is the indication that Afenyo-Markin gave by withdrawing that objection they had, which paved way for Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa to be approved.
Truly, let me state for the record that the leader of the House, a gentleman as he is, and the chair of the committee, my respected tribesman and brother, the gentleman as he is, indeed, reading the report, the essence of the discussion is properly couched. I have therefore no hesitation at all in going by what has been said. Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa made certain comments against His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when we had the SONA. And the understanding was that indeed it was very, very much in a bad taste. We shouldn't be doing this to our president, and that there must be decorum and proper use of language, especially on ceremonial occasions.
Away from Parliament, let's take you now to the Upper East region.
Indeed, and the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, has announced government's intention to terminate the contract awarded for construction of the Pualugu multipurpose dam. The minister gave the indication during an interview with journalists after a 3-day tour of various departments and agencies under the Agric Ministry. Now, government in 2019 initiated a $993 million contract to build Pualugu Dam in the Talensi district of the Upper East region.
Well, the project was expected to feature a hydro-solar hybrid system with 60 megawatts of hydropower and 50 megawatts of solar power, but most importantly, absorb spilled water from Barbery to address the pre-annual flooding up north and boost irrigation. But 5 years on, the project is still yet to begin. Let's listen to the Agric Minister, Eric Opoku.
The project was to solve 3 critical challenges. 1, to provide irrigation facilities for farming. 2, to provide power, hydropower, to augment whatever we have in place to generate power for Ghanaians. And then 3, to help address the challenges from the Barbery Dam spillage. The contract was awarded. Ghana government was to pay $56 million under the contract as mobilization to enable the contractor mobilize to site. Almost $12 million was paid, but no work was done. And it's like the contract is in a limbo. What we will do is to terminate that contract immediately. We'll terminate the Pualugu contract, look for a contractor, look for funding, and then immediately ensure the execution of the project.
Colleague James Aveji joins me in the studio. You've been out and about the whole day. Why exactly is he deciding to terminate this contract?
Well, for say, you know that somewhere May last year, this issue came up strongly when it surfaced that government has paid some $12 million as part of mobilization fee to the contractor when, as we speak, work has not started yet. Now, as part of the minister's tour, when we went to the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, the CEO, the CEO of the authority painted a gloomy picture of the irrigation projects in Ghana. He indicated that we have about 1.9 million hectares of land which are arable, but only about 200,000 hectares have been developed, less than 5% of that. And so they would want to improve irrigation. So that's when the conversation came in, and we asked the minister the next step for this, and then he indicated that they will be terminating it. But the question will remain. We know that what comes with some of these terminations are judgment debt, and this is what we put to the minister. This was his response.
What judgment debt are you talking about? A contract has been awarded. You've not done the work. You are supposed to mobilize to site. You didn't go to site. So what judgment debt are you talking about? Anyway, before we terminate, you know it will not be done here. We'll refer to the Attorney General's department for his advice before the contract is terminated. But we are prepared to make sure that the Pualugu project is executed. And I can assure you that it is going to be John Mohammed's signature project.
Another thing that came up strongly were concerns about abandoned farm equipment. Tell me more about that.
So these are hundreds of farm equipment, including tractors, planters, harvesters, commercial sprayers, hundreds of them sitting in the yards of the Agric Engineering Services Department or Directorate at Amrahia, where the minister has been. Now, the information is that these were actually procured years ago. Some procured under the Eswal administration, others under this administration, but they have not been able to get them to the farmers because, for instance, a tractor as we speak is supposed to be subsidized, costing some 76,000 Ghana cedis. And so the minister said within a month he should be able to put things in place to begin distribution.
They are exposed to the vagaries of the weather and the machines are deteriorating. And so I have seen them. We'll go back to the office, sit with the team, and take decision to make sure that we make them available to the farmers as soon as possible.
I mean, the challenge you notice is about the exchange rate and the affordability of this to the farmers. What will change this time around, because the exchange rate is still climbing?
And that's why I'm saying that we brought them to ensure agricultural mechanization, to enable us increase agricultural production. That purpose has not been achieved. Okay. And therefore, what I am going to do is to make sure that we change the situation, the arrangement, we vary it to make it more convenient for our farmers to be able to acquire them and then use them on their farms. You must also understand that we are also going to roll out a lot of programs which will require some of these machines to be able to do it. And so I want to get to the office. Having seen these machines here, we'll sit down and then we'll come out with a policy. Within 1 month, you'll see what we can do with these machines.
Well, let's get on to the telephone lines and have a conversation on the back of this and bring in the Peasant Farmers Association Executive Director, Bismarck Owusu-Nortey. Bismarck, the Agric Minister saying that they are going to cancel the Pualogu contract. Happy?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening for having me. I think that we all remember the issues surrounding the Pualogu and the fact that we spent close to $12 million on an investment that, if you go to the ground, there's virtually nothing to see. For us at Peasant Farmers, our major call has been how government should be able to prioritize the construction of the dam. So for us, any intervention by this current government, whether it is through the contract abrogation, whether it's about rewarding a new contract, whether it's about audits, whatever the case is, our main priority is that all these actions that are being taken by the government should result in the construction of the dam. What farmers are looking out for is to see the dam see the light of day. And we are happy that the minister indicated that the dam will be one of the signature projects of His Excellency, the new president. So for us, we are in support of any kind of intervention, whether it's abrogation of contracts or awarding new contracts, that will see the expedite construction of the dam for the benefit of the farmers. So that's all what you ask for.
Let's look at the possible impact on farmers now that it is being abrogated. How is it going to impact you?
As I'm speaking now, there is no dam. So the livelihoods of several farmers in that enclave are being impacted by the effects of climate change. The case in point, as we all remember, was what happened last year during the extended dry spell. So the absence of this dam is going to create further problems because we know that the effect of climate change is going to compound in the next few years. We listen to the experts. So the immediate and prioritization of that dam has the potential to alleviate the lives of several thousands of farmers in that enclave. We are talking about a dam that has the potential to irrigate over 36,000 acres of land, which is supposed to be the largest in West Africa. So you can imagine the impact that will have on our agricultural production, the impact that will have on the livelihoods of our farmers, and the impact on our food production and reducing the country's dependence on externalities for the supply of food. So the impact is huge. So for us, how the government is able to prioritize, in fact, for us, what we are calling for is that in the first budget of His Excellency the President, the Pualogu multipurpose dam should feature prominently in that budget. There should be an allocation of resources to kickstart the actual construction of the dam. And for issues around accountability, we also support any intervention by the government to retrieve any kind of money that was ill spent on the bare land that we see at the dam site. So the role of the dam, the impact to farmers cannot be overestimated. We know what it will do, and any action that this government is taking to see to the erection of that dam will be supported by farmers.
All right, thank you very much. Bismarck Owusu-Nortey is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association.
While away from that, government of Ghana has formalized a crucial debt treatment agreement with its official creditors committee by signing a memorandum of understanding, a significant step towards restoring long-term debt sustainability. Now, the milestone comes after Ghana in December 2022 suspended portions of its external debt servicing to commercial and bilateral lenders amid a deep economic crisis. Now, after months of negotiations, the country can now confirm that it has the buy-in of all 25 members of its bilateral creditors in a debt rework operation, which is expected to yield total savings of $2.9 billion. The finance minister, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, announced this at a press conference today.
Structuring was the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding by the Official Creditors Committee for Ghana. The former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mohamed Amin Adam, commenced the process for the signing of the MOU by individual members of the Official Creditors Committee in June 2024. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that following His Excellency the President's directive, we have made significant progress in Ghana's external debt restructuring. On the 17th of January 2025, I, in my capacity as Minister of Finance designate, met with Ghana's advisors and the technical team of the Ministry of Finance to discuss the state of affairs, create a timeline, and outline action plan for implementation. Since then, the Ministry of Finance team have worked tirelessly to advance the President directive. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a significant milestone from the team, and we are pleased to inform all Ghanaians that the Memorandum of Understanding reached with the Official Creditors Committee last June has now been fully signed by all 25 participating creditors country. We are grateful for the Official Creditors Committee's members, their commitment, and particularly the committee's co-chair, China and France, for their support and assistance to Ghana throughout this process.
Well, Joy News lead data and research analyst Isaac Ofeje joins me in the studio with a breakdown of all of this. Isaac, what is the data telling you?
Well, so firstly, according to the IMF December 2024 report, in terms of the official creditors, we are expecting a total debt relief of $2.86 billion, roughly $2.9 billion. Now, if you break this down, we've already enjoyed $836 million in 2023. That's when the whole cutback started. 2024, we enjoyed $766 million dollars in terms of debt relief, and 2025 we are expected, or a sum of $657 million expected to be freed up in the form of debt servicing, and the last one will be when the moratorium ends in 2026 next year. That will be somewhere around $604 million. In total, $2.9 billion.
Thank you, Isaac Ofeje. Let me bring in now Professor Godfred Bopping. He's a professor of finance and an economist at the University of Ghana Business School. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. Now, I'm wondering how bad our situation would have been without this debt relief, really.
Well, it would have been that serious. In fact, you wouldn't have gotten the IMF supported program in the first place without the coming on board of the official creditors. Official bilateral creditors. It wouldn't have happened. Remember that on December 12, 2022, Ghana reached staff level agreement with the IMF on our IMF supported program. But the program couldn't be approved. We had to wait for 5 months until 17th May 2023 after a staff level agreement on December 12, 2022, before the IMF Executive Board approved our program. What kept it that long? It was simply because we were waiting for official financing assurance from our external bilateral creditors, and that was delivered in May, which then enabled the IMF Board to approve the program. But even though right after that, and also with the delay from Zambia and other countries, the IMF has revised its lending framework, which would now allow them to lend to countries that are particularly in default. Until then, we needed these steps. So debt restructuring was a prior action, and the IMF had made external bilateral debt restructuring a condition precedent to signing. So the process started all the way from 2022 when staff level agreement was reached through 2023 and all of that. So I would say that what the current Minister of Finance reported was largely done by the previous administration. It was just a matter of time. And as Kofi Eje indicated on this evening, the Ghana's debt sustainability analysis had already incorporated this news in the December 2024 debt sustainability analysis that still classified Ghana as high risk of debt distress, both external debt service, and then overall debt service in terms of present value of debt to GDP ratio, and then external debt service to revenue ratio.
Okay.
Even to the forward-looking approach, if you look at the projections from now to 2028, we will reach moderate risk of debt distress, but that is where we are now. So the market has incorporated this news already.
Let me come in at this point. The debt servicing moratorium is only up to 2026. Now, I'm wondering, as a country, do you think we have what it takes to walk alone without another debt rework?
No, that is a trap. In fact, we had said this before, that if you look at the debt restructuring parameters, it was also designed consciously to only enable the IMF-supported program to have the much-needed fiscal space to deliver on its objectives. What that means is that right after the exit of the IMF-supported program, the fiscal vulnerabilities will begin to crystallize, and the country will have no choice than to resort to another IMF-supported program. We had criticized this approach earlier, and again, not only the relief from the external debt restructuring, not only the external bilateral, if you check the external commercial in terms of euro bonds, and then also check the domestic debt restructuring, you realize that it was just designed to give maximum breathing space for the IMF-supported program so that they can say that their program has delivered superior results, only for Ghana to return to crisis moment right after the program. So sustainability is a big issue. If you look at the domestic debt exchange, the bullet payments in 2027, 2028 runs into billions of cedis. Then again, if you look at the external debt restructuring, so what we have done actually is to sacrifice our medium to long-term survivability for short-term praise. And I think this government should not just be happy of the short-term stability that comes. We must look at the implications of this beyond 2026.
Thank you so much, Professor Godfred Bopwing. He is a professor of finance and economist at the University of Ghana Business School. It's a good time to do business now. George Riafi joins me in the studio.
Well, coming up in business, the total value of mobile money transactions reached a record 3 trillion cedis ending December last year, representing a significant increase over what was posted in 2023. A National Insurance Commission halts planned increase in motor insurance tariffs from February 1, 2025, saving holders from that expected hike from this weekend. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Synthesis Tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. You welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, the total value of mobile money transactions witnessed some significant increase ending December 2024. Now, Bank of Ghana data showed that it reached 3 trillion cedis. There is more in this report.
In 2023, the total value of mobile money transactions reached 1.9 trillion Ghana cedis. However, this amount jumped by more than 50% to 3 trillion cedis. The Bank of Ghana data also showed that there has been significant increase on a monthly basis when it comes to transactions done on this platform. For instance, in December 2024, the total value of mobile money transactions in that month reached 334 billion cedis compared to the 1.99 billion cedis recorded. Some industry analysts are linking it to developments in December as a result of the Christmas festivities, but report has also shown that more businesses and individuals are turning to this platform as a means of payment for several transactions.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, the National Insurance Commission has put on hold plans to increase motor insurance premiums, or call it tariffs, for all category of holders from February 1, 2025. The tariffs should have gone up by some 10% from the beginning of next month, in line with industry development. However, fresh circular from the National Insurance Commission to the various insurance companies has indicated that the planned increase or adjustment have been put on hold. This is due to what they describe as unforeseen circumstances.
We all know that we
And apologies for that. To other stories, President John Mahama has announced that the government will adopt some innovative measures to help finance infrastructure projects in the country. The president noted that the state of the economy has made it difficult to finance some of these very important projects, hence the need to go this way. The president disclosed this during his Volta Region Thank You Tour program.
We all know that we are in a period of economic crisis and fiscal room for massive infrastructural development is very limited. However, we intend to use innovative means of financing, including the use of SPVs, those are special purpose vehicles, BOTs, build, operate and transfer schemes, escrows and debt service accounts to achieve our priority infrastructure investment and programs, especially as contained in our manifesto promise, the Big Push. The Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, which I created, will lead this project in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance.
President John Mahama. Now, Guinness Ghana is downplaying any negative impact on its operations and workers going forward. Now, this was after it announced that it has reached a deal with the French beverage group giant Castel to sell 80% stake in the business to this firm. There is more in this report.
Guinness Ghana, in a statement, noted that despite the plan to sell 80% of the business, nothing much will change in terms of the structure of the brewery firm. It added that they don't envisage any changes to their operations as a business, while downplaying any negative impact on workers of the company. The brewery giant also noted that under the agreement they've entered with the French beverage group Castel, that will allow the company to continue to brew, produce and distribute Guinness and other Diageo brands. It's also promised that Guinness Ghana will continue to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange despite the planned takeover. Guinness Ghana has agreed to sell some 80% of the business to Castel for more than $80 million.
And that is a Business Desk report. Well, the share price of Guinness Ghana Brewers went up by 10 pesos at the end of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange today. Now, it's not clear whether the planned takeover of the business by the French beverage giant contributed to this hike in its share price at the end of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But before we go, President John Mahama has appointed a business development expert and health practitioner, Dr. Bernard Primpong, as the new chief executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. She takes over from Yofi Grant, who has moved on from the center that has last. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, in a statement issued today, announced that the new chief executive is a result-driven professional. And that's all for business on Newsnight. It's time to talk sports with Mushbao.
All right, George, thank you very much. And let's turn attention to the Ghana Premier League, where Mediama, they have confirmed the appointment of former Black Stars player Ibrahim Tanko as the new head coach on a 2.5-year contract. The former Ghana international, who holds a UEFA License A certificate, takes over from Augustin Evans Adote, who reverts to his original role as technical director. Well, this was disclosed in a statement issued earlier today. Well, Ibrahim Tanko himself goes in there with vast experience, having the vast experience to the Ghana Premier League champions, having previously coached at Accra Lions and served as an assistant coach for Cameroon national team, as well as Ghana's Black Meteors and Black Galaxies. His coaching journey also includes stints in Japan's J-League and Germany's Bundesliga.
I feel blessed because I knew Mediama not today, and I'm friends to the president, I think almost 6 years or 7 years. So, and today I'm here, I find a new home. So definitely I'm feeling happy. Mediama Sporting Club is one of the biggest in the country. When you look at the last 10 years, what the team achieved with all the infrastructure and Yeah, I think it's a very good choice for me. I think I can make it happen here. Definitely. And the success is there, like I said before, and I'm here also to achieve something. So definitely, before my end of my tenure, I'm sure that the caps will be more.
Well, that's Ibrahim Tanko there. His first game is going to be against Legon Cities in Takwa. Well, 2-over. Turn attention to the Champions League now, and the final round of games in the league phase of the new format of the Champions League will be happening today, and it's Manchester City who are currently in a very difficult position, lying 25th in the 36-team league, 2 points out of the position that qualify for the knockout phase. They have to beat Belgium's Club Brugge at Etihad tonight to avoid being eliminated at the group stage, and the head coach Pep Guardiola says they are ready to make it happen.
We want to go through to have another chance to play another 2 games to qualify for the next stages. So it's not a problem, it's an opportunity, a challenge, and we will face it. It's not personally for me, it's for the club, and of course it will be not good, but I'm not thinking about that right now. So I know for all the people concerned about what's going to happen in qualifying, I appreciate it, your concern, and all of you to don't qualify, but I'm thinking we're going to do it.
Pep Guardiola there. Well, we've got a live commentary of the game between Real Madrid and Brest happening on Hit 103.9 FM, and also update on all the other games that will be unfolding tonight.
Real Madrid and who?
VR. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that of about 35 teams playing
league,
Europe's biggest competition, and Manchester United is not part?
No, of course they're not part. But they're playing. They'll be playing on Thursday. They're playing the Europa League. And hopefully next season we'll see if they can make it to the Champions League.
Yeah. Razak, thank you very much for bringing us the latest in sports. Let's go to the courts now.
Well, the Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, has abandoned the criminal appeals filed at the Supreme Court by his predecessor, Godfred Yeboah-Damieh, against the Finance Minister, Dr. Cassiel Atuforsin, and businessman Richard Jakpa. Now, the Court of Appeal set Dr. Atuforsin and Richard Jakpa free. The former Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah-Damieh, however, appealed the decision in 2024. Well, let's get more on this, Kenneth. Now, before we get into the details of why the state is choosing not to prosecute further, let's start with a bit of background. What's the fact of this case?
Indeed, Faustina, this was one of the biggest cases last year. Finance Minister Cassiel Atuforsin and businessman Richard Jakpa were accused of causing financial loss to the state in an ambulance procurement deal between 2014 and 2016. A third defendant, Dr. Sylvester Anemana, was discharged earlier during High Court proceedings due to health complications, and the Court of Appeal, however, exonerated the pair on the 30th of July 2024 in a split 2-1 ruling. The then Attorney General, Godfred Damieh, contested the court's decision by lodging an appeal last year.
But the new Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, he has abandoned the appeal. Why exactly?
Well, he has done so because he says that he has formally abandoned the appeal as of the 24th day of January this year, filing a notice affirming the state decision not to prosecute further. And the notice says, and I quote, "Please take note that the Republic, having previously served notice of appeal to the appeal court against the judgment delivered by the Court of Appeal on the 30th day of July 2024, hereby gives you notice that the Republic does not intend further to prosecute the appeal, but that the Republic abandons all further proceedings with respect to this matter as from the date of this notice."
Thank you, Kenneth. Let's head now to the Ashanti region, where hundreds of aggrieved parents and students besieged the office of the West African Examination Council in Kumasi, demanding the release of some results withheld over alleged malpractice in the 2024 West African Secondary School Certificate Examination. The affected students, mostly from Tier I Ahmadiyya Senior High School, had their mathematics results withheld by WAEC, sparking widespread frustration. The aggrieved students and their parents claimed the decision to withhold the results was unfair and unjust, insisting that their children had not engaged in any form of malpractice. My colleague Nana Boachi Yadum has been engaging them in this report.
According to WAEC, an investigation had been conducted into the 2024 WASI examination, with preliminary findings identifying some form of examination malpractice, especially in the Ashanti region, with some schools affected, including T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School. Over 1,600 students have been affected with their mathematics results withheld. The parents who are aggrieved with the awards came in saying that they disagree with WAEC on their stance. Some of them shared their frustration.
It's emotionally and mentally, it's not easy. As I said, I have twins, a boy and a girl, and they both went to Amas. It's not easy to see your friends, maybe colleagues. The secondary school they went to, maybe not, but they went to a different JHS. Oh, mommy, this person has got into Legon. This person is going to Tech. You have to be dealing with their mental state and emotional state, it's not easy. You know, they might smile about it, but they are not really happy inside. So it's a difficult thing.
We are not happy about that because it's not like examination. You communicate with the word first that is coming to write a report. Nothing in that message that they gave us. Only for them to come and they want them to write a report. The report writing too is not that a big deal. They separated the parents and the children. According to some of the children, they intimidated them to write the reports. So why should we intimidate somebody to write a report?
And John Kapi is the Public Relations Officer of WAEC. He's joined us on the telephone lines for more. Mr. Kapi, thank you very much for your time tonight. It's been almost a month after the WASI results were announced. You've heard the parents and also students. They believe you've held on to their results longer than expected. Is that really what's happening?
Good evening and thanks for having me. Well, there are processes that we go through, and so I wouldn't say that we have held on to the results unduly longer than they expected.
And the parents are also accusing WAEC of intimidating the awards who are expected to write a report. Can you confirm or otherwise?
Well, the issue about this interaction with the candidates is simply to present to them whatever allegations have been made against them. And then they, on their part, are supposed to tell us their side of the story. Now, we all know that verbal reports are really not anything to use in evidence anywhere. And so once you've spoken to us, we ask you to put whatever you have said into writing as evidence for you and for us. So that going forward, if we take any action, that action is based on whatever you have said and then put on paper for us. So nobody, and I'll repeat, nobody, unless whoever is making that allegation can ascertain that indeed the award was, intimidated or coerced into writing a statement.
Right, Mr. Kapi, so when should we expect the release of these WASI results? It's been almost a month. Some of their colleagues have actually started university.
Well, the investigations, what we've done has been, this is a process. Let me just go through it step by step. The examiners would have marked and told us that no, we suspect that something has gone wrong. Now, we don't take that wholesale. We also go and do our internal investigations. But even before we do our internal investigations, we inform the Ghana Exams Committee, which is the relevant committee in charge of our examinations of the council. They come from all manner of people across academia. So they would give us a green light to withhold the results and then go over them. And when we are done, we should give the candidates a hearing. We need to find out from them also what happened, whether somebody probably compelled them to copy or on their own they did something that was not right. Okay, so when this is done and we are convinced that indeed something has gone wrong, that is when we go out there to meet with the candidates and to hear their side of the story.
Mr. Kapi, so, I mean, the parents have expressed their frustrations. You've given us enough explanation, but really, when should they expect the release of the awards WASI results? When?
As I said right now, I cannot tell you it's going to be tomorrow. If they cooperate with our people in the field, then decisions can be taken as early as possible. So whatever decision will be taken to release or to cancel is based on whatever hearing that is going on at this particular moment.
Okay, John Cappy is the Public Relations Officer of WAEC. Thank you very much. But before we step out of the studio, Strong and Sassy is coming up. What should we expect tonight?
Kenneth, Jesse, yes. So on Strong and Sassy tonight, we're talking about building a strong personal brand for yourself. I think the last time we were able to speak, I talked about the fact that we're trying to build a whole series basically in January. We talked about how to attain excellence and all of that. So we're getting into building a strong personal brand for yourself in order to, maneuver your way around the very competitive world that we find ourselves in. So yeah, we've got our guests who are already in. And so when y'all are done, we'll be able to get into our conversation.
I can't wait. But before we go, let's read a few of the messages you've brought in. This one says, please, when is the e-levy and all the nuisance taxes going? Please, we the ordinary Ghanaians cannot wait for so long. Well, the finance minister has indicated that it is going to be included in his first budget to Parliament.
And this one says, good evening. This current NDC government must prosecute previous corrupt NPP officials. And this is coming from Senna.
Okay, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth Jesse.
I am Faustina Safo. Good evening.